Welcome to the ET Stand, the Cronulla Sharks fans podcast. You idiots, I'm just laughing at these clowns just trying to make faces at me in the background. On this episode of the ET Stand podcast, we are going to work out, stop it you idiots. We're going to try and work out what a dynasty is and if the Cronulla Sharks can ever build one of their own. We're just not content with one premier. These idiots in the background, I'm going to stop them from pulling faces at me. Let's just bring them in. That is Boldo's tears. Chris Kelly, who would you move?
Where do we start? I'm glad Boldo didn't grow up in Egypt times because that's a terrible looking pyramid. It would have fallen over and collapsed by now. And given that he just Googled the squad and put Matt Ikavalu in the bottom and he hasn't been there since half of last year, a pyramid would have fallen.
He's still on the page.
The pyramid would have fallen over. You would have been missing a foundation piece and it's fallen over.
Oh, Maloney is still intercept. Away goes. Away goes James Maloney. They're kicking him home, the Sharks fans. Maloney is there. Healy. It's Healy has scored on his departure day. Mitch Healy gets a try. The crowd have gone absolutely bereft.
In amongst all of that, Lat's had an awesome story about how awesome this Finau guy was, and then Boldo concludes it with like, yeah, Finucane, how good is he? And everyone's like,
I don't even know who Finau is. I just assumed that Finau was the same guy as Finucane. Is that a different person? I didn't know that. Who the hell's Finau?
Wow. This is how flawed the tears are. He doesn't even know half the time.
Boldo.
This is where the tears bit comes into it.
I'm listening to the card going, did my stream just like skip 30 seconds or something? Like, no, it was just Boldo just playing along. But anyway.
Leachy, great ball to Campbell. He's away.
Campbell to the 30-metre line. Now, Columbus heading for the corner. Gets it back on the inside. Graham, they're over. Nick Graham has scored. 4 minutes into the game. And it's away. Here they are. Pryor. Can he get it there? Yes, he can. Matt Pryor, an unlikely first try scorer for the Sharks.
Interesting enough that the North Bears are getting that desperate. They're talking about having a Pacific Bears team so they can sort of engulf those Pacific nations and sort of get that ball rolling where they think they can sort of, take on the Cook Islands and the Samoans and the Tongas and sort of make it their team. So PNG's to go for me.
I'm pretty convinced after that. All right, Franko, what do you got?
Mate, can I rebuttal that, or am I giving a different answer?
Go for it. Enough arguments on this podcast. Come on,
you're going to throw out cans, and they're going to play out of cans.
Ever. That is the dumbest idea ever.
Townsend now calling the shots with Johnson off. They will go. Gallen, field goal. Paul Gallen field goal. That is amazing. That is ridiculous. Away. It's back to Smith. Smith gets it away to Cronk. Cronk's got Corabetti with it. Have they got a chance here? Corabetti's put down. The siren sounds. Cronulla have won it. Cronulla have won it. 14-12. You can turn the light out now.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.
Welcome to the ET Stand, the Sharks fans podcast where we let our talking do the football. And in this case, with my dry, sore throat, I'm chewing on a lozenge and hopefully that'll carry me through the show. Whew, here we go, guys. A big one for us, I think. We're in all usual spots: YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you guys want us to be. If we aren't there, you let us know and we'll try and get there. While listening, don't forget to like and subscribe. I know our new AI overlords love it when you do that. In tonight's episode, we'll go through our top 10 moments of the season and why they made the list. But before we do that, let's catch up on some of the news. The November 1 has come and gone, meaning there is a slew of new signings and hopefully a bunch more to come. The Sharks have got a bit of depth back in the club with Mourinho Wahoroti signing for another year, Nira Peru signing for another year, Billy Burns, Jaden Beryl, and Chris Vela all for another year. We've picked up some of our Australian schoolboys, so Nicola Williams, Tom Dillo, and Alex Chanelaw. We've got our flag player, Felix Fatilli, also extending, SG ball player, Jaya Davies, Matthew Cup players, Callum Graham, Oliver Lester, and Blake Watman. There's plenty of rumours out there that Oregon Kafusi and the club have agreed to an extra year. If that's true or not, I'm not too sure. However, all that does really mean is that he's back off contract again. So that only just keeps him here for 2025 and he's free to negotiate for the next year. The big one, of course, is Braden Trindle, 3-year extension in keeping him at the club until 2028. So I think there's a lot of people really happy with that. My big one is Nicola. Reports are that it's a done deal, but pen hasn't been put to paper yet. So we'll just wait on that one, but I'm pretty excited that that's going to be done as well. I feel as though the club is moving in the right direction with a lot of these signings. What are your thoughts, CK?
Yeah, I was going to mention Nicola. Obviously, saw reports that he'd signed. Quickly went through the Sharks pages, his own page. Nothing was there, so it's obviously good signs that it's actually going to happen. But we'll see if it actually comes to fruition, like you said. The latest rumor today that I saw was one Pappenhausen might be in our list to go into the fullback spot. So left field rumor. It'd be a lot of salary cap juggling, whether it's for next season or the season beyond, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I think there's a little bit of rumor mongering going on in that one for sure. Now, you're into a bit of a punt, CK. How'd you go with the Melbourne Cup?
My daughter got third place, so she got a little each way. She had the sushi. She said she was going to dedicate the winnings to a sushi meal. And I went better on the other races than I did the actual cup. And everyone asked me, what's your cup tip? I said, just pick your favourite number, your favourite colour, a name that represents something. So I'm sure there's a lot of Knights fans that won some silly money out there at $101 odds that come in. But yeah, the cup, I just have a little dabble here and there, but I play the other races around it, and that's where I make my money.
Gamble responsibly, fellas. Very good. Yeah, no, I always pick some horse name that sounds like a superhero or a cartoon character or something silly like that. I normally do all right. Speaking of big news, Marvel and DC have lost the trademark to the term superhero. So for those of you out there that now want to refer to your favorite football player as a superhero, you can do so without fear of litigation. You might have done so already, but now you can get it printed and comment on it, and no one can do anything about it.
Change your name to superhero.
Can do. Williams, you superhero, You managed to get on with a moment's notice. Didn't think you were going to be here. Pulled yourself out of bed, shaved, and got on camera in time that the intro video took to run. Well done, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be here until about 7 minutes ago, hence Boldo's laughing at me, dropping the lights and all that jazz. You're talking about superhero and litigation. I'm wondering, can I download, was it some, what was that Metallica album off Napster that they sued people? Can I download that yet for free? That's the big issue. Only about 20 years late. But I'm good. Thank you for asking. Hope you guys are well too. I'm very much playing catch up, but I saw your instructions there with regards to how this is going to run. Yes, I am looking about 20 years younger. My kids are in shock. My wife doesn't like it, bizarrely, because she never liked facial hair, and now she loves it. Yes, I'm doing Movember, hence this is not Milo. But yes, this is what it is.
Very good. All right. Well, mate, maybe we can find a way to get your Movember donation link out there to the fans and see if we can help out.
Got to get off my butt and make one. But yes, that's pretty much. I will do that. I will do that now. It's a good cause. So
okay, very good, excellent. Now, Williams, while you were the last person to jump onto the pod tonight, you were the first person to get the homework in. So, was it hard to put a top 10 list like this together?
Yes and no. I just quickly went through the draw. I had a few off the top of my head straight up. They were like, they're 1, 2, and 3 for me. The others I filled in the blanks, but you'll see that I had a very heavy slant towards a certain team, i.e. the first grade men's team, while others may cover other good things that happen to the club. A lot of good things happen to the club. I took it as a NRL men's first team top 10, while others looked at the whole club, which is a good thing. Spoiler alert, though, I don't think the Leagues Club rates on anyone's list of top 10s, unfortunately, but maybe that's next year.
Don't think it does. CK, we talked about you enjoying having a punt. How many crossovers do you think there are between us?
I'm going to go at least 3. 3 out of 10.
At least 3?
Yeah, I think there's a few moments in there we all enjoyed together. So, yeah, let's go 3.
3. And then harder question. Do you think there's a chance any of them are in the same spot?
I reckon 1 and 2 are pretty close. I reckon they'd have to be up there. There's some pretty good highlights in there.
I'm very excited to see what's in everyone's list. And I say that as I pretend to not already know who put what on the list as I put together the presentation, but we'll all play along. And before we go, we've got to call out Harley, regular commenter, just super pumped that Braden Trindle and fingers crossed Britton Nickera has re-signed for the Sharks. So absolutely gold there, Harley. All right. Now, top 10 season 2024. I like to keep it broad because it's interesting to see different interpretations of something like this. Williams has sort of said that he focused on this on the field, men's, first grade, and away we went. Without spoiling, CK, how did you approach a top 10? What did you think of when you thought of top 10?
Yeah, look, I was probably the slackest one probably out of my homework, but I did it in about 2 minutes because it was such a highlight-filled season that as I started to go through a list, I realised there was quite a lot. In saying that, you might have thrown a little spanner in the works now saying I've gone across the club because I happen to forget a certain team's achievement this season as part of our club because it was such a successful year. So I apologise to those guys, and I will have a little, when we go through the list, I will apologise later on. But
well, we might do a little honourable mentions at the end of it.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. Very good. Well, just a little bit for you, CK, to make you feel a little bit better. You are not the slackest to do your homework, so you're in the clear there. All right, here we go. CK, take us away with your number 10.
Yeah, well, number 10, I wish I knew it was because I would have put this at number 1, but it's Boldo's incorrect predictions for season 2024. There was a long list. He did poo-poo a lot of us for claiming, and you know, most of us, if not all 4 out of 5, predicted us finish top 4, if not minor premiers, if not top 2. This guy had us at the bottom of the top 8, 7th or 8th, somewhere down the bottom there, struggling to fight the semi-finals, going into that way. He also came out with Tommy was only going to score a handful of tries. Tommy on multiple occasions nearly put up double figures in a single game and almost broke the double figures mark this season, which a lot of us said he was going to go higher than the season before. As you can see there, he's got us as 6, which I thought was he thought we had rose-coloured glasses on or shark-coloured glasses on. His thoughts on Talakai and Kay Dykes, and of course his terrible tears, which just probably confused the players more than anything. So shout out to Boldo to being wrong on a number of occasions in predicting this season's outcomes.
He was very bearish at the start of the season, wasn't he? He didn't think we would do well at all.
Yeah, he was very poo-poo for a guy that attended a lot of games, was pumped up in semi-finals, flew down to Melbourne to take on the minor premiers. Quite confusing. And yeah, his prediction for the start of the season was quite dour. Whether he was trying to downplay it to help his confidence and help us. But this is a guy who talked about a streak in the middle of a streak and broke said streak by mentioning streak, and also yelled out at multiple occasions throughout the season, we can't lose from here. So quite strange that he had us so low.
Deservedly on the list for being wrong. All right, Williams, number 10 for you, mate.
Because I put my homework in that early, I had to quickly refresh my memory. But yes, number 10, I thought I'd start with round 1. Start the list with round 1, winning for the first time in a long time in round 1. We beat the Dragons back in 2021. And that's the only time in living memory, I'm going to say, that we won round 1. But down 12-0 early against the Warriors and to come back and win in that fashion was a huge confidence boost. And I just remember I went to the Sharks Bulldogs game the next night because my son was playing as pre-match entertainment, playing junior footy, wearing a Sharks polo, and the amount of random Para and Bulldogs fans going, how good were you boys last night? And I'm like, yeah, we're in for a big year here. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, I had no belief that we would win this game. There was the good year that the Warriors had the year before, our poor round 1 record, our away record there. It was just, I was not expecting anything to go our way here. And then I think, we were down 12-0. It was like, yeah, we knew, we picked it, move on, bring on round 2. But yeah, it was a good win and something that I thought was pretty awesome.
Gritty. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Plenty of honourable mentions, but I'll get to them at the end.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. So my number 10 is the same game, the same win.
Hey.
So there's one crossover and in the same position. I was quite shocked that this was a win. And the way we won as well, I thought was really good because we know we should be good, a good defensive team. We know Fitzy, hangs his hat on his defense, but really for the previous 2 seasons, we haven't quite seen that defensive resolve that everyone expected to see coming out of a Fitzy coached team. And then while we let in the first couple, they were hammering our try line for most of that game, and to keep them to what we did, I thought was really good and a strong sign for the season. So I was pretty pumped after this one, and it was as it turned out, it was a good kickoff. All right.
So defining match. It was just changed the narrative for all the talk of we couldn't beat good teams, all the teams, but we couldn't win big games. And straight off the bat, we won a big game against a good team at the time. History showed they weren't a good team at the end of the season, but round 1 when they're up 12-0, and Kelly picked that. We'll give him props for that, and we did a few weeks ago too with his picks of the Warriors and Souths with the way they went compared to the media views. But yeah, great performance at the time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. All right, number 9, CK.
Number 9. Oh, still in love. The jersey, the throwback jersey, the 96, 97 throwback near Reebok, but we'll go with Aramex. Matt Rogers styling and profiling, showing off, representing the club at Cronulla, mind you, wearing at the golf course, wearing the jersey. This thing is just a thing of beauty. The way it comes out in the games across TV was one of the best we've ever put out. So that was my number 9. Was just I'm still in love with this thing. If I could make it into a pillow and spend the money, I would, and just hug it every night because it's a thing of beauty. Hanging up in the Louvre, seriously. Just a jersey. I had to be as the merch guy. I had to find one in there, and I was like, how could you not have this jersey in there?
It was
Great
a ripper.
choice.
Yeah, absolute ripper. I've been bitten by the last couple of heritage jerseys, and like that's good.
Yep.
Gee, that's really good. And I was like, you know what? I don't need another heritage jersey. It's fine. Whatever it is, it's fine. And then it came out. It's like, I kind of need that jersey. That's pretty good jersey. So I think it was epic. Did you end up getting?
Sharks fans, I've asked Santa for one because for all you Sharks fans, if you do like me and you're a bit of a merch sort of aficionado and you like getting your merch for a little bit cheaper, she is on sale for $99 at the moment on the Shark store online. So throw it on your Christmas list for Santa to get for you because you're now saving yourself about $60 is what you would have done before. And you're throwing your members discount, get another 10% off. So get ahead and get one because I definitely will be.
I was going to say I've got exactly that. I've cashed in and it's on my way for Christmas. The last members jersey, or sorry, a retro jersey I got was the one in 2020 where we had the 3/4 length sleeves with all the players in printed on it. I got that as a COVID discount. But this one, they've obviously supply and demand. They've got plenty of supply. Whereas I think from memory, the older Pepsi style one a couple of years ago went like that. So good to see they're meeting that demand for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't hear a bad word spoken about it. So, it certainly hit that nostalgia button, but also looked good for a modern fan base who maybe didn't grow up with it. Go out and grab one, gang. I think it's a ripper. All right, Williams.
Sammy Stone Street debut against the Cowboys, and then scoring that try in that fashion was it the southwest corner. Just magic scenes and just the entire story around him. How so as he grew up supporting the club, was a massive Luke Cavell fan growing up back in the early 2000s, and to do that's what dreams are made of. That's what I suppose every kid in the Shire, every kid that goes to the Sharks dreams of, and to see that play out. And I've seen it. I know we've seen it plenty of times too with guys through the years, but just to, I suppose in this day and age of modern football, where not many teams tend to have too many juniors coming through. You look at the 2016 team, Chad was the only one, and he was brought back to the club. But just, it was a definite standout for me. It was just a matter of where will I fit that into the top 10. And we'll see plenty more of him to come, I reckon. I hope.
Yeah, certainly a bunch of our listeners are big fans of the Goat Street. I reckon you're right. It was a real feel-good story, right? The emotion that was on his face with his try, all his buddies scoring in the corner with all of his friends, coming through the grade was a real good story. And I hope he does get more games. I don't know, always torn and conflicted in those sorts of scenarios because who is he getting those games at the expense of? But he certainly has a promising future ahead. And I think he bleeds black, white, and blue. So good luck to him. All right, my number 9 was Ronaldo Mulatalo's effort in the win against Souths, round 6. And he was just in everything. He scored a double, he set up a couple, he was making meters. It was just a brilliant display. And someone in the Sharks are doing well when the commentators can't stop speaking about them, even when they're not doing anything. And this was one of those cases. Vossi just lost his proverbial over the performance of Ronaldo, this one, and it just really, really makes you proud. Like, yes, that's right. That's a Sharks guy. That's a Sharks team. This is a performance that we're putting on the big stage. The line came out from Vossi on this one. He can pull his arm down an S-bend and pull out a gold watch. I just really enjoyed not only his performance, but the impact it had on the coverage of that game. I thought it was really fun to watch, and it made for a great night. Plenty of chatter around him as well for the rest of that week. So that's something a performance like that can do, where you get a bit of positive buzz around the club, and it was really good.
Good call there. It was a very professional victory, that one, I suppose. We still conceded 20-odd points, but you're right. Mulatalo was far and away the best player on the ground, which is a huge feat for being a winger.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Okay, CK, number 8.
Number 8 has to be our NRLW girls team. Like, seriously, like what a season they had. From coming into a team to losing a couple of key players' injuries to going on a massive, shall we say, streak. The wheels sort of wobbled right off when we faced a red-hot Roosters team at home, and everyone thought we were going to have a great victory, and they absolutely did a Panthers to us. And then, to then make the grand final, odds against us, trying to play the Broncos, thinking we're not going to go anywhere past at least the first stage of the semi-finals, and to pull out an absolute showstopper against the Broncos. And then in the grand final, stacked up against them, down big at halftime, thought, here we go again. This is going to be tough. And to absolutely fight back and nearly pull it off was just outstanding. So excited to see where the ladies team goes forward into next season. I know we're getting the Knights great prop coming across to us as well. So shout out to the girls. And, shout out to the fans as well, getting behind them. There was a lot of fanfare over the season getting behind them. I know I stayed back and watched at Wynn Stadium, and it was just electric to see. So great season, and I hope they continue on.
Yeah,
definitely. You go, Franko.
I was just going to say, I think at halftime it was pretty depressing, but to see that comeback, one of those scenarios of, whoa, if it was an 80-minute game, we might sneak home with that one. Heck, if it was 72 minutes, we might have snuck home with that one. We were coming home hot.
It's all embarrassing on my part. That win over the Broncos in the semi-final, if you whatever you want to call it, amazing. There was the rank outsiders having blown it a few weeks before against a red hot side. We were without key players, and to perform in that manner and keep them scoreless for the first time in their history, unbelievable. And then obviously that second half comeback as well. So yeah, great shout.
And not only that, we lost to the Tigers a couple of weeks before this. So it was just
leading
in. The leading into the semi-finals at Sharks, losing to the Tigers was just. I was like, oh no, this is going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Cronulla
personified, and it was just bad.
3 in a row, wasn't it? It was lost to the Roosters, the Broncos, and then the Tigers. And then go into playing the Broncos away.
Yeah.
And then to get that result. Yeah.
And the Tigers were the wooden spooners.
Yeah.
Tigers wooden spooners. Yeah, but great result by the girls. Great turnaround, and just what might have been the grand final, because that second half is one for the ages there. Especially in the women's game, which is prone to, I suppose, not too many blowouts compared to under 20s, but still, it's kind of, if one team gets on top, you don't really see those big comebacks occur, and these girls almost did it.
Yeah, they're more sort of an arm wrestle game and really close, and then like you said, the sort of talent sort of comes to the front, and those girls' teams sort of kick on. But this game was just complete opposite of that. The Roosters were out of puff. We were coming over a wet sail, and I wish it was going to be one of those victories. It was very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call out, mate. Well done. All right, mine. Williams, what's your number 8 here, buddy?
Oh, have I given away your number 8 too? It was that moment against the Knights. We were down and out, down 18-10. After being up 10-0 early, it was let's call it our third of our trilogy of matches without 2 halves. The first time against Melbourne, it won, and that may feature, spoiler alert later. The second one against the Gold Coast, that may feature for me too. Great result. The third one, after 10-0 down, the Knights found us out. They're like, cool, they've got one playmaker. Just apply pressure to that guy, and the Sharks will have nothing. And that is exactly what happened. But then Knights couldn't hold the ball. Neither could we, but we held the ball a few more sets more than they did. Mulatalo scores in the corner, and Atkinson nails an absolutely clutch conversion from the left touch line to, I think it was to tie it up, I believe. And that put us in position, I suppose. There was the blocker penalties that went both ways to give him the opportunity to kick the field goal. He's second of the season to get the victory. When by all rights, we shouldn't have. We blew it. And I think we'll go on, and when my young son is sitting next to me, when it was Gagai, whoever scored that try to put him 18-10 up, goes, Dad, we're done. I'm looking at it going and sitting with you guys going, yeah, I think you're right. And then Atkinson steps up and does that. Great result. It was a huge for his career. and huge for the club, really. If you said at the start of the season that Atkinson would deliver how he did in multiple matches, with this one being, I suppose, maybe the crowning, well, apart from the Storm game, crowning glory, the crown jewel of his short career. I think all of us would have said, you're off your head. There's no way. Without Hines, we couldn't do anything. And this is without Hines and without Trindle. And he stepped up and did that. Good stuff.
It was a cracker of a game. Absolutely just took that game right at the end there, which I feel as though we had all right to lose, and we didn't. It just sort of showed, a bit of tenacity, bit of grit, as you mentioned earlier, for your number 10, and it was good to see the boys get up. All right. My number 8 is the Stone Street try in the corner. It was, as we said, just that story of the local junior who loved the Sharks and came on through, and that joy and celebration was just epic. So it had to be on my list somewhere, and this is where it sat for me.
Closing comment on that. So glad it wasn't COVID, like what happened with, Charlie Staines scored 4 tries against him. So stuff you, Charlie Staines, for want of a better term. But he jumped in the crowd and celebrated and got, quarantined because he broke COVID protocol. Good thing for Sammy Stone Street and his mates and the entire club that wasn't the case in 2024.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Very good stuff. Okay. Now, CK, number 7.
Oh, it has to be the Newtown Jets, guys. Come on. New South Wales Cups winner, the Newtown Jets, come through, beat the, let's say, apart Storm, New South Wales Cup team. Unbelievable again. It kind of, I really enjoyed this victory. It was great. But then it kind of got me a bit sour grapes in the week after when we have to face the Battle of New South Wales versus Queensland. Because I feel like this victory doesn't get soaked in enough as the players or the fans, because they really don't have the week to enjoy it because they're going to go up for another match. So it kind of takes away from those teams winning their own comps. Obviously a lot of our players were borrowed throughout the season. Obviously Stone Street's in there. Big Hooks is in there. Ueli playing a lot of minutes and playing a big role. Beryl in the team as well. And Hiroti was unbelievable in this match. It was the first time I think Lats actually fell in love with Hiroti. It's taken a while. It's taken a few years. A love-hate relationship, but these guys are outstanding. And to win to the New South Wales knock-on effect cup was just amazing to see. So a bit more. We can't really claim it as maybe a trophy in our cabinet, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Newtown's great to see them playing another team that's not in the competition at the moment. So we'll see what happens. Watch this space. But yeah, just great scenes.
Great result, given that how many players they provided to first grade throughout the year, given the absence. I suppose Atkinson would have played for them a fair bit. Tapua, you saw Braden Hummel and Ueli in there, and a lot of them moving up, like Hiroti as well, played in the one match. But Stone Street as well. Stone Street played in there. Some really high quality players, but also you got Farlongo playing fullback for Norths. They feed a team for Melbourne and Souths, kind of like the old Storm Sharks setup we had back in 2012 when we won the grand final there. You're right about the bitter pill, though. I suppose we won in 2019 with the Billy Magoulias chip again. Unfortunately, this time we were the wrong side of it, and I felt a bit like that's a bit of a match that didn't need to happen, was it? Like the real match was the week before, and then we've gone and lost. We blew it. Sorry, as I knocked my mic to some no-name team, and Newtown, I don't know if they partied too hard or what, but yeah, they blew it the following week. But this was the main game. They got the result, and it was great to see plenty of players in there that could, can and do hold their own in first grade playing reserve grade, and it was good for the future, I think, seeing that result.
But imagine that. Imagine winning a grand final. You won the comp, you get the lifted trophy, you get the medal, and it's like, all right, boys, go and enjoy tonight, maybe tomorrow, and then Tuesday or Wednesday, see you back at training for Sunday's grand final day. You'd be like, hang on, like it's.
I remember hearing that
it'd be a strange feeling.
The Panthers did similar with the World Club Challenge in '91, so they won the grand final. It's like, how good's this? And then it's like, oh, off to UK you go. And I think the following week or 10 days later, they played against, I don't know, Leeds, Wigan, whoever it was, and got pumped because obviously they were still in the drink going, hang on a sec, why are we playing this now? The main game was last week. So, yeah.
Well, not only that, they lost Ben Alexander in that week as well. So I don't know how that team even got up for that.
Was it after the grand final? Was it?
I'm pretty sure it was the week.
Digress. Yeah, I thought that was the following season. I didn't realize that was the week off. But yeah, it was still pretty tight turnaround.
Somebody Google and let us know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, spoilers, this did not make my list specifically for the reason of that next game that just soured it too much. I feel as though the structure's a little bit wrong. It's almost like this is not the main game. This is what gets you to the main game. You spoke about the Billy Magoulias chip kick. There was an opportunity to chip kick again to Ferris again in the dying seconds, and he basically took a hit up and broke my heart. We should have, coulda, woulda that match. We were in front for most of it. It was just heartbreaking to lose the state championship, whatever it's called.
It's a strange concept that somebody came up with, because you got to remember, we used to just play the New South Wales Cup Grand Final on Grand Final day, and Queensland Cup just happened up there. Like, you guys stay up there, do your thing, and we're going to just put our guys on display. And now they were like, because we used to have the under-20s as well. Used to be under-20s, used to have like reserve grade into the first grade. So someone come up with some whiz bang, let's see who's the best team in the country. So there you go. Thanks, Boldo. Ben Alexander sadly died 21st June 1992. So give you the points there, Williams. I just sort of associate the two of them going together as winning the comp, the trophy falling off the back of the Ute at one stage, and then obviously losing Ben Alexander. So
yeah, it was all crazy times for them. But I remember hearing, I think it was both Greg Alexander on one occasion and Mark Guy on another occasion being interviewed saying that within days of them winning the grand final, I mean, it's similar to, I suppose, guys being picked in the Australian team and having to back up and go join the Kangaroos camp just after you won a grand final and gone on a week-long bender. Same thing, but they went on a week-long bender and then had to go to the UK, and then obviously got pumped because they're like, this isn't the main game. We won everything that we'd worked hard for was last week, and this is the same here. You're right that we used to have the New South Wales Cup was reserve grade was the grand final on the main day, because, hey, Queensland Cup, sorry, and I do, having lived in Brisbane, know there were a lot of people that followed the old BRL back in the day, and the Sydney comp, the Brisbane comp went in parallel, and the Broncos, a lot of people in Brisbane hate the Broncos because of that, because they were seen to be, they joined the Sydney comp and they killed the Queensland comp when they were seen to be comparative. Maybe we go back that way. I've heard other suggestions too. I think it might have been Joel Kane on SEN suggesting that you have the women's as their own standalone grand final, and you have maybe the Queensland Cup and the New South Wales Cup grand finals before the men's grand final. Maybe have it all as one big thing. You need to have, I think, precursors. I think it's one thing the NRL grand final has over the AFL grand final is there's football all day. And I remember growing up, we all watched the 94 President's Cup win and then the reserve grade win and things like that. It's a huge part of the day. If your team wasn't involved, they still might be involved in in reserve grade or under 20s or whatever. We need to preserve that. But this Super Bowl of sorts, it doesn't quite cut the mustard, does it? It's strange,
especially a week straight after. You gave them 2 weeks maybe, but not straight a week after. It's weird.
Yeah,
agreed. Anyway, still a good call out. The boys really did well this season. So congrats to Newtown and the Sharkies that are involved. Williams, number 7.
Yes, the 44-0 win over the Gold Coast when we were massive outsiders. I think shout out to myself and Franko. We both tipped Sharks by 4, which in my strange, bizarre world maths meant that we clearly between us tipped us by 44. You put those numbers not together, but add them both sides, and we had a 44-0 win. But the media was ready to sign our death warrant. The Sharks were down and out. We were without Trindle. I think he'd had hamstring awareness issues. We hadn't set the world on fire against Souths at home the week before. In fact, we'd been diabolically average to beyond average, I think, just horrible. And then to come out and play like that against a team that had everything to play for. The Titans, I think, had just beaten Brisbane by 40-odd up there. We were going in against a apparently packed Gold Coast stadium, which I think Kelly's brother went to, and it seemed to be that it was majority Sharks fans because the Gold Coast had obviously celebrated their early grand final win over the Broncos the week before and went, Sharks will win this one. It's a Friday night on the Gold Coast. Don't go to football. Go to Shooters or Jupiters or wherever else instead. But good win, and it set up the rest of our season. This was a big turning point and, a big result in the scheme of the season, I thought.
It was a big game, big win. You can put it together and say we knew 44, but no one was predicting.
I'm being silly there, so I'm just saying that Boldo, Kelly, and Lats had all probably quite rightly picked the Gold Coast. After I'd earlier in the season picked the Gold Coast, and I remember Williams 2.0, and everyone go, Williams is off his head. I'm like, no, we're out of form, and the Gold Coast actually are a handy team under Des, and they beat us, and they probably should beat us more handsomely. This time I was more out of hope than anything that we'd win. And we did. There's Toby Rudolph scored a good try there, but I remember Sammy Stonestreet getting the second try, and just a really good performance by the entire team. Then McKinnis had a blinder. I think Nicola played well as well. It was I'd have to go back and have a look again, but it was across the board good one. I might just for you, Franko, we might just comment. I suppose it's a bit kind of related. Nico wasn't in this game, but Vincent Spears Music, first time commenter. G'day, Vincent. Talking about Nico to fullback. What do you guys think? Probably a bit outside the scope of this chat, but probably not. I'd say that he's definitely a half. And going back to some matches that I'll see later in the year, I'll cover later in my top 10, wins early in the year with Nico playing half shows that he absolutely is a half. He doesn't have the speed for fullback anymore, and don't judge the end of his season. Don't listen to the media. He was playing on one leg, and he's not a fullback anymore. He was, but I don't think he's anymore. I don't think he still has a lot to add as a halfback or a 5'8" in the halves, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Nico is not moving to fullback. So forget that one. Yeah, scuttlebutt. But that said, there's probably a bit of truth to the fact that maybe we're not in a rush to sign Kennedy. But we'll see. We could wake up tomorrow and he signed a 3-year deal. So watch this space. All right, my number 7.
Sorry, Boldo had a couple of comments there about the World Cup chat. Yeah, so there you go, Boldo. I'm correct that the Panthers played on a dry Wednesday. Was that ChatGPT told you that? Probably at Anfield, home of Liverpool, and they lost 21 points to 4 to Wigan. So sounds similar to our one. And yes, the point of the ball probably got a mention, but they were still partying and lost to Wigan. Anyway, carrying on. Braden Trindle, go Franko.
Braden Trindle, it was his performance against the Cowboys for me at number 7. What a cracking game! Absolutely dominated and owned the result in this match. Why it's not high for me is probably because of all the press that surrounded it and all the talk about it is now being worth $900,000 and all that sort of malarkey that could have got in some of their heads before the next game, all the pile onto Nico about not being there for the team and not standing up. It was just created a lot of mess, I felt. If you can take a negative out of it, obviously it was a positive. Obviously it was amazing. That's why it's in my top 10. But I also thought we were going to win this game. So it's more a case of how he performed than why it's here in this list. But it was pretty good to watch. Absolute cracker from him.
What's the latest news that he's resigned? And I think I saw. I mean, it's media, right? So you take it with a grain of salt. It was an average of 675 over 4 years. I think I know that some others of our, I suppose, brethren would say that that was overs. I think that's an absolute steal in the current halves market. I don't know how accurate it is. Just going off our group chat on Discord the other day, I think that if he shows what he has shown this year, he's a quality half. He's not the best half in the comp, but we don't need him to be. We've got Nico for that, and I think Nico will get back. But I think Trindle has shown that he has the ability to step up when required, and that's an absolute steal for what we're getting out of him.
He's also only had basically one season running the team when you consider
Correct.
He came in late last season and missed a chunk of this season. So He's got a lot of development to go in terms of confidence and ownership of a team.
On the spot, I don't know if he's passed 100 games yet, but he's another one of those players. He's getting close. He's been in the setup since 2021, so he's been in now the team. But he's starting to just tick along that experience, and we're looking for bigger and better things out of him next year. And I think he's got the ability to do that.
Yeah, look, I haven't seen any confirmed numbers on his contract yet. I'm sure that'll come out in the wash as we start to try and re-sign more players. If the market starts to move in regards to letting go guys. Look, I started to think about it during the week of where he would range in his price tag if you're a manager and walk it into the office and throw him out there. Like if you go around the league of like a Jack White who's way overpriced, a Cody Walker who's done a lot of stuff, but he's big money, and Ezra Mann's done a lot of stuff but still hasn't really done it. But then I started to think of someone who's probably in the same realm and the same probably money and situation as Dylan Brown at the Eels. Big money contract, probably the 700,000 range in a long-term contract. So, look, for someone who's so young and playing six, won a semi-final, has taken us to a few victories, it's not a bad price for me for a half. Like you said, Matty, we price out the Dragons. They don't come sniffing. They'll be scrambling for a half. Lachlan Galvin will probably sort of seek high that money, and we know the salary cap's only going up, and so is the TV deal. So, yeah, good price for me.
Dylan Brown and Ezra Mam, pardon my ignorance, but do either have a quality kicking game? I'd argue no from what I've seen.
No, they're more of a sort of like a Trindle, but without the kicking game. They're more the runners, freaky tries, kind of things like that. And the highest six at the moment is obviously Luai is going to 7, but he's going to be $1 million. And Matt Burton's probably even 800 at the Dog. So
I'd argue Burton has a kicking game and not much of a running game. Ezra Mam is all running game. And yes, he scored 3 tries in the grand final. Good on him. Fantastic. But I don't think he's a team that's going to own he's not a halfback. He can't, where Triddle, you can put a halfback or 5'8" and do the old Ricky Stewart own the result kind of tagline. I don't think Ezra Mam can do that. And Dylan Brown has proved this year with Mitchell Moses being out. That was his opportunity to say, hey, this is my team, and he didn't do that either. So I think we're onto a winner here. And Trindle has, I suppose, proven 40-20 in the game against the Cowboys, almost 40-20 against the Panthers. These are in big matches. He's got the kicking game to boot. Pardon the pun there, intended, and is a huge foil and different point of attack that Hines needed, the team needed. They did that. The change came in late 2023. And hopefully next year we'll reap the rewards from the experience he got this year.
Yeah, good signing. I'm on board with it. I imagine we had a bit more to play with, unlike other clubs where he was on the books for next year. We probably did some sort of adjustment where we bumped up next year's deal so that we didn't have to go too high for the later 3 years. Sort of level that out a bit, make it more cap manageable.
But surely we've got a little off-field discount, little off-field discretion discount.
I think we did. Maybe we'll see. But no, good to have him. I know we've got a couple of good young promising halves coming through, but I don't think this is something that you would consider gambling on when you've got a combination that seems to be working as well as ours. Okay, CK number 6. Look who it is.
Look who it is. How many crossovers we're going to have here?
It's going to start coming thick and fast, I reckon.
So I go with Franko, the Trindle performance, and obviously it was more focused on the actual semi-final win. So obviously all the talk around going into this match is the Sharks can't win match. We've been in the semi-finals for the last couple of years, can't get over the line, can't win a semi, our halves are shot, which was quite a bit of a turn of us going on how good's life to let's now defend our Sharks guys on this podcast, because like I said, all season, everything was running rosy. We were sitting top 4 all season. We finished in the last 4 of the teams. Thank God for this victory. So, and unfortunately, Nico copped all the heat for the month leading into this, even though he was out. We obviously didn't win week 1 down in Melbourne, but we beat the pants off Manly the week before that. But so semi-final, monkey off the back. Let's go into next year. We know what it's like. And taking on the Cowboys team, who we talked about, we could be rocks or diamonds, and they'll definitely rocks in this game. So let's march on to the next one.
I'd argue they were diamonds to start with. That first 10 minutes being there live, we're like, oh, gosh, the Cowboys, their forward pack was rolling through. We were struggling to get out of our own end. And I think it was actually Trindle with a bit of a kick that turned things around, that got us on the attack, that forced an error that then got him on the attack to put that kick in and get the penalty try. But yeah, and then it went from there. But you're right, the media turned like that. We talked about streaks, things fell away. And you saw how quickly everyone was ready to put the boot into Nico, which that's an entire, I think, thesis in itself. But I'm going to give a shout out, and I don't always do this, but I know I'll do it regularly. So to Dan on Fins Up saying that, well, basically, if this was anyone else in the comp, we would absolutely be laying the boot into them as well. Nico was completely out of form. I think he has the ability to come back, but he was out of form. I don't think it was warranted, but we probably would be doing the same thing. If it was Mitch Moses in that position or Luke Brooks or something, we'd probably be also sharing the laughs. So it seemed like it was a very cheap and easy win for pretty much everyone else in the comp to make themselves feel better or justify the position of their team, and we bore the brunt of that. But hopefully it's given another a bit of fire in the belly for next year, seal that resolve and see how we go from there. Because I think that all these little things that happen for a reason. How's the team going to react? I think it's going to be for the better in the long run for Nico and the team.
Yeah, my rocks and down more is the explosions of the Cowboys. They Drinkwater throwing a 40-meter forward pass.
Oh yeah,
not
Drinkwater had a shocker at the key moments.
Yeah, massive moments. He had shockers. They couldn't find open players. You Cotter, sin bin, just things like that where they just opened the door for us. Yeah, we fell off. We probably got a couple of denied tries and took the foot off the gas like we did in the last 15 to make us really nervous. But yeah, let's get a semi-final and we don't have to worry about it anymore. Like, we won one. Soon it'll be, you've won 1 out of 4. I'm like, here we go. We'll start again.
Well,
so
if we lost that, you would never hear the end of it. The media would still be talking about it. I'm sure there'd be a top news on Fox Sports talking about the Sharks haven't won a final since 1997. Whoop-de effing do.
Yeah, someone's got to take over the Tigers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, we still might get only won 1 final out of 10 or something next finals round. Roll around, but
for sure.
All good. All right, Williams, keep it up with your number 6.
Yeah, the winner of the Broncos down was at 12-4 at halftime. Come back and win 22 points to 12. The Broncos' first try wasn't a try, by the way. He was tackled and then got up and played on. The referee just let it go because penalty Broncos. But yeah, big win in front of 42,000. No Nico. Hot on the heels of Origin 1. Everyone's going, oh gosh, how's it going to affect the team? And this was a game that Trindle, another one of those games, Trindle absolutely stood up, took charge of the team, got us the result. Happy days. So everything was pointing to a Brisbane win both before and then during the match. Things were going against us. I'm not going to say that Brisbane were in good form and proved to be a shadow of the self, or a shadow of the team that they were the year before. But in the context of the season, it was huge, and it was a big game for Brisbane too. They were up for it, and we got the result. So it's another, to use the Fox term, a win with an asterisk, apparently, because I'm sure, I don't know, Brisbane were missing Darren Lockyer from 20 years ago or something. They would have found that as an excuse. Never mind the fact that we were missing Nico and others, but I think McInnes as well. But great result.
Yeah, I gave us no hope for this one. I just Brisbane in Brisbane. I'd put an X against it, so it was a great win by us for sure. Okay, here is my number 6. It's a little bit left of center, something that I'm not sure if you guys considered, so we'll find out. But in the context of a season, in the context of a club, how do we go? How are we performing? But more importantly, what do we appear as a club in terms of our peers? And this, I thought, was a big tick to say that we are on the way, and it was the Vegas announcement. Getting accepted to go to Vegas, I thought was pretty epic. There was a lot of hooping and hollering. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to get to it. I'm looking at the financials. I'm trying to see what I can do to get there. But I think just the fact that we were considered, let alone actually getting the nod, I thought was a real testament to the board and administration and the direction that the club is heading, to say that, you know what, we are professional, we have a fan base, we're performing, give us a crack. And you know what, whether or not it's a scenario that every team must get a go at some stage, in that possible prospect, you could think we would get a go in 10 years' time. But to get it second go around, I think that's a really good showing by us. And I even put in a little picture there for you, CK, with the NFL Sharks helmet, because I know you love that.
You're right, Franko. It's a big tick to get us over in the second year. I wish it wasn't, because there is a certain event only 6 weeks after that Boldo and I are planning to attend. It's called WrestleMania. It's just a small event that happens in America once a year. So I wish these two were a little bit separate, because that's in Vegas, in the exact same stadium where my Vegas Raiders play. We might actually see another victory there for once. I'm 1 from that stadium so far. So let's see how we go. Nathan Cleary has gone in for shoulder surgery today. I'm hoping it's a little bit of delay and maybe an infection, and he's just going over there for PR work and doesn't get to play because it's a different looking Panthers team, but obviously reigning premiers against us, which is another big tick, you'd have to say as well, that we get to play the reigning premiers. So two top 4 teams facing off against each other over in Vegas. We're not playing, like the lowly other teams that could have gone. We could be playing Canberra. Obviously, the Wars think they're going to get every single Islander over there, coming over and watching them. So, big tick for us.
I'm a man of nostalgia. And this year, 2024, marked the 10-year anniversary of the bubbler, marked the 10-year anniversary of the Asada findings, the 10-year anniversary of the wooden spoon, and to think how far we've come. And not to give Dave Bolderman any credit or compliments, because he doesn't need any more. His head does not need any increasing, but that interview with Dino did highlight and touch on that, and talked about how far the club has come. Maybe this is just a slight skeptic in me, because I'd heard the rumours going on for, I think, all of us for months leading up, going, the Sharks are going to be there, the Sharks are going to be there. Oh, wait, the Sharks aren't going to be there, or the Sharks are going to be there. I was waiting for the NRL to come out and go, thank you, Cronulla was going to be there, but due to, Andrew Abdo finding, they'll be replaced by the Roosters, because we need to share this around. The Roosters have experience and they can show the other teams how it's done. We'll insert BS NRL answer here, because this is a 5-year plan. There's 17 teams. That divides into everyone gets a go, right? But then old mate Volandis, Rugby League, came out and said, oh, no, we share it around, but we don't need to share it to every team. Not every team will have this opportunity if they don't meet the criteria. Here we go. We're talking Super League. What does that mean? Anyway, we're there, guys. It's cool, you Jets. Take the blood pressure medication like I need to. We're going. So it's
the
good.
Off-season.
Exactly. Yeah. And go
excellent
Harley.
for us. And
Go
Harley
Sharks.
is charging there in the comments saying Sharkies Viva Las Vegas. So good work from us and the club. Really glad to see us get there. So it made number 6 for me in my top 10 of the year. CK, number 5.
Oh, it's top 4 finish. We talked on this, touching on Boldo, saying we're going to be somewhere where the Dogs and Manly were, somewhere towards the bottom there. It's a great achievement again to finish in the top 4. It's the goal of every team to finish in the top 4 and make yourselves the last 4 teams standing. So again, we did that. Very proud of the whole club. Obviously, like we talked about, we had a nice streak going. Wheels fell off. There's some gritty victories out there as well to come back and finish strong. I did think we're probably going to give away the game to Manly and see what happens, but luckily, like I said, we flogged the pants off Manly over at Brookvale and held on to our top 4 position and went into the semi-finals with a bit of form. So well done to the club. What did we end up with? We ended up just third in the 38 points, but just third in the for and against category. So
and that was only
pretty
32
good.
Points. 32 points. Actually, sorry, a bit more than that. I was looking at the attack, but it was a bit of a difference with the Roosters there. They had 32 point better.
We win against the Warriors.
Or defense, sorry. Yeah.
We win against the Warriors. We're in second.
Oh, we win against the Warriors.
We win against
the Tigers. We win against. There's too many of those. Middle of the season was a D-, or it was close to it. Let's call it an F. I'd actually call the middle of the season was a complete and utter F. It was like 2005. There was a streak and then just a cliff. And then there was a point in time we're looking at that form going, if they continue playing that way, we don't win again and we actually drop out of the 8, which would have been some kind of record. But then we found form again and we went from there. So I think it was a really good effort, obviously, at the start of the season and the end of the season. But it's a marathon, but any top 4 finishes to be commended. And that was our first top 4 finish, well, since 2022. Prior to that was 2018, and our first prelim final since 2018. So great result.
Well done.
Maybe we should reverse one of this, Franko, a worst top 10 moments of the season.
We might do that. I think the top 10s will be a semi-regular occurrence. We'll come up with a whole bunch of different themes. The worst top 10 of the season, we can probably do something like that. Maybe we'll try not to dwell too much on the negatives, though, I think.
All I know is this chat is a lot more rational than whatever the hell a tier is. So, anyway, as we move
Brilliant.
on.
All right, Williams, number 5.
That's Will Kennedy. That's winning in Wollongong. Yes, that's right, Dragons. Your stadium is Lou's stadium. I'm sure everyone's heard that tap before. But the whole media, everyone was talking about how the Dragons were absolute specials. I think we were actually short price favourites to win. But, the Dragons are great value at $2.80, $3. Gamble responsibly. And I foolishly thought the same. I would never bet against the Sharks, let alone against the Dragons. But this one... you could see from that, I think we scored first, and then we had that sin binning of Ramian when the referee completely missed not only a knock on, but an offside, and they picked it up and ran down the left, and then the Dragons scored in broken field, and we're like, oh, here we go, it's going to be like that, is it? And then to just come out that Kennedy try from the bomb, just running away with Stone Street scoring, Hiroti playing, so we had like a spare parts side, and one well, and Dragons had just beaten Melbourne away and had everything to play for, and we absolutely pantsed them. And it was another magic moment in this lovely little rivalry we have against our little brothers who, are very much inferior. And, that's all I have to say.
I'm still mad at that reffing blunder. Oh. God.
And I love that the hide that I mentioned it before, the hide both I think in the debrief at the time, and then like just last week I think Klein turning around going, oh, you can challenge, but you're going to get a player in the bin, just like the complete. It's like, sorry mate, if you and your 2 other officials and the bunker and everyone else had their eyes open and saw what happened just 2 seconds before that, we wouldn't be looking at Ramian's high shot. So, but anyway,
the crazy part about that is I was standing on the hill on the 30-meter line of the southern end of the back row. And that happened in the northern end in the corner. And I could see it. And I kind of barked out a little bit about it, half having a joke and then seeing what the reaction of the crowd would be. Again, standing with some Dragons mates. We'd had a few beverages beforehand. And they're all like poo-pooing me down. And watching the replay, I was just boiling inside. I'm like, if this comes back to bite us, I'm going to... But then, Ashley Klein made up for it with a nice pass from Ben Hunt to his skull later on, which obviously cruel big gamble responsibly a multi of Lomax scoring under the post. But that was just as good. So, I was only talking about this victory the other day because we absolutely, like you said, we pantsed them. Massive victory, and it was great to win down here at Lou's Stadium.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, my number 5. I couldn't put it in my list, CK, spoilers, but what I could put in my list was the win streak from the girls. Coming out red hot, winning 6 in a row. I didn't put the GF in, but getting 6 in a row from the girls, flying high, looking unbeatable. Yeah, the Roosters brought us back down to earth and then ended up getting the biscuits, but this is the performance that I expected to see from the NRLW team in the Shire. I had high hopes for them last season. A lot of passionate Sharks fans who we lost due to the fact that we weren't able to have an NRLW team. We finally got the team. They've started coming back. And this was just a great performance that a lot of fans should be proud of. They are really just kicking goals, showing how it's done, and just adds to that professionalism of the club that we spoke earlier. Just everything is pulling in the right direction, and this is an example of that. Loved it.
Absolutely. And not only that, shout out to the ladies as well. They're doing a lot of off the field stuff, a lot of community sort of things. I saw them the other week doing a promotion with Zambrero and the Sharks Cares program. So our Sharks Have Hearts program. So they're doing a lot of sort of those off the field stuff. And again, they're a very close knit group. You can see a few of the girls had some holidays. Tomagato got married the other week as well, and most of the girls were there away for that, for the hens and the wedding, not stalking at all. Just showing some interest into the women's team. But it's great to see. Like we said, it was amazing.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. All right, CK, number 4.
Yeah, I had Goat Street in there. I had him a little bit higher because, like the boys touched on, scoring in that corner. I couldn't imagine anything better. And you growing up, probably standing there as a kid, or it would have been either the other end or this end to score, but to score your try on debut in the corner over there with all your mates in front of you. A little piece of advice for listeners out there. I don't know if you know, but normally when we're in a bit of an arm wrestle, I either go to the toilet to the right and we score a try, or I go to the bar at the left. Unfortunately, I was in the bar at this time and was watching it on the TV and just going, why did it have to be in that corner right in front of where we sit? But it was just an electric moment. It'll stay in my memory for a long time because it was just a great to see, like Matty said, another local junior coming through and scoring a try in that corner and leap into the mate. So I put it pretty high because, again, Franko talks on the local juniors quite a lot. I can still see the clubs coming into that sort of fruition now. So yeah, it was good to see.
Loved it.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's a three-peat. That's on all of our lists, this one.
All of our lists.
Big moment.
Good work.
Made it.
Big moment.
All right. Williams.
Manly.
4.
Yes, so the first time in our history we've won 3 matches at Brookvale in a row. Shout out to Johnny Morris, who couldn't get a much, I would say, more experienced and tried and tested team up for Paul Gallen's last match against a bit spare parts reserve grade Manly side, and we got properly pummeled. Fitzy, if a mark of a coach, maybe I'm putting the mock on him here, but I think Fitzy can get a team up at Brookvale. This one, again, I'm broken record here, but all the hallmarks of a Sharks loss. Manly with everything to play for. They were only without Tommy Trbojevic, which, to be honest with you, their forward pack had done well, shutting down the Bulldogs a week before in front of a huge crowd at ANZ. Or a core now, sorry, Homebush, whatever you want to call it. And we're coming into this one with a bit of form. All the media was talking about, Sharks can't win at Brookvale, never mind the last 2 results. By the way, they're out of form, never mind the fact that we pumped the Dragons. They're out of form, never mind I think it was Nico's first game back, second game. We lost to the Warriors. We lost the Warriors. So I can understand the doubt, given it was the final round. And early on, we're trading blows. They scored and led. We scored first, they scored twice, we came back. And then just the second half, my goodness, that Nickera try, that other Nickera try, all the tries we were putting on and silence Brookvale. Great result. I think it's up there with, I'm going to say, best wins in our history, but given all the history there, fantastic result.
Yeah, you're right, Matty. I didn't even bother to tune into this game. I went out and did something else because I didn't want to see the bloodbath that was going to happen, because Manly were playing to play a semi-final at Brookvale against to host the Dogs. So they had everything to play for. We, just like you just said, just blew the absolute game the week before, which emotionally drained me, losing to a Sean Johnson team that didn't need to win, but it was one of those kind of scripted moments. And we couldn't move up positions. We were stuck in 4th.
Yeah.
We couldn't leapfrog. I honestly thought maybe Fitzy might have pulled some players out of this game.
If I was, not that you could, but if I was Fitzy, I absolutely would have wheeled the reserve grade team out and gone, let's prep for next week. And I think Fitzy, if he knew the results prior, he probably would have done that. But anyway, first grade team goes out there. Manly were up for it. I'm watching it. It had semi-final intensity. Manly were wanting, were baying for that win. And we just weathered the storm and then just clicked. And Manly was great.
Yeah, love it.
Doesn't happen often enough.
No.
Yes, winning at Brookvale, fantastic. So 3 in a row there. I think.
Yeah, myself from attending it ever again. So.
Yeah.
I'm never heading to Brookvale.
Do not.
Yep, we'll take the wins. All right, my next one is a big one, and maybe not so big for this season, but it's going to have some ramifications. My number 4 is the signing of AFB.
Yeah, big moment. Now, some might call out a technicality. The signing was announced on the 19th of December, but that's in preseason for this season. I'm calling it. It counts. It counts.
And didn't a bunch of fans jump for joy when this was announced? No one knew it was coming. There was a whole bunch of clubs chasing him. We weren't even in the picture until maybe the night before it was announced. There maybe were a couple of little, hang on, wait on. And then bang, the club drops it, signed, sealed, delivered, happy days. Later on, we might question it a little bit, but at the time, the cherry on top was a couple of weeks later, AFB also signing on. when we thought we had to
BHU.
lose someone. BHU, sorry. It was just this signing just changed the perception of everyone's grand final window. We were just like, everyone wanted a big bopper, and we got one. So awesome signing by the club.
Similar signing for Finucane and Nico, absolutely nothing at all in the media, and then boom, out of nowhere, when everyone's talking about those players signing for other clubs. This was it. AFB was potentially going to the Bulldogs. That was the shoe in. The Dragons or the Tigers maybe, and then out of nowhere us. And I'd say that looking at 2023, you would have said, hey, we need a big bopper for 2024. And we did, but our props that we had stood up. We were without BHU and Finucane for the entire season, and we still got top 4, probably should have been top 2. So having AFB come in, touch wood, stays injury free. Obviously had a blinder for Tonga the other night. Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, I think it's just showing us landing another big fish is a great step for the club. We might discuss regarding interviews within the club to find out who's pulling the strings behind the scenes on these kind of things, because I'd like to give that person credit, because like you said, there's the players before that who have signed. Nothing was coming out. We're not a leaky boat where a few other clubs have already started to show their interest in these kind of guys, and it's getting out in the media and stuff like that. Whereas we just went, bang, we signed him, he's ours. Like you said, had a cracker of a season this season. I'm just holding my breath to get through 2025, because there's a lot of pressure on this guy's shoulders as a key signing. So I just want to let's get through the season and go from there. So love the bloke, but it's holding breath for me.
Yeah, don't pin all your hopes on the one guy. He's a huge signing, but still, as with anything, one injury away from it, we're back to the team we had last year. So,
Yep. All right. CK, number 3.
Yo. Number 3, Dan the man. What did I have for this one, Franko? Remind me.
You had the emergence of Atkinson.
The emergency Atkinson, we obviously talked about it because I know what my sort of 1, 2, 3 was. I just couldn't remember which order it was. But the emergence of Atkinson, obviously coming out of not left field. We knew what he had in his bag of tricks, but not what he proved on the field throughout the season. Like we touched on with those key injuries, missing out. Matty touched on the Newcastle. There's obviously a couple of more games we're going to talk about, which I'm sure there's some crossover. But for a young guy to lead the team who's pretty much a rookie, a bit part, thrown out in different positions. I'd seen him in trials at 1, 7, 9, 6, 3, and he obviously played wing and centre in the season. A lot of calls for him to replace some of our halves throughout the season and towards the back end as well. I'm hoping he's on our list of players to put pen to paper. I just don't know what sort of tag you'd put on him in case other clubs come sniffing. So, what a player. There's so many highlights throughout the season, which I'm going to touch on spoilers for a little bit later. But, what a kid. What a big game player. When he has to have that moment, he's not afraid to take it, and it's huge.
It was great for us that he stepped up. I think, as I said before, if we said that Daniel Atkinson would play so many matches and Nico would miss so many matches, you'd think, oh gosh, do we even make the 8? And then him do that's fantastic. Great for him though. He put himself in the shop window. I'm sure other clubs are coming knocking. There's all the rumours about the Dragons, so we'll see what happens from there. It'd be great to keep him, whether we can or not, based on what he's shown. Not sure. There's a rumour of us talking to Ronald Volkman. Don't know if that's media talk, maybe, but you do need a backup half. He stepped up and then some, which helped everyone.
Yeah, absolute cracker of a season. I know we've got Peru as well, sort of in the depth squad, doing really well with Newtown. We saw him, he had a pretty good game in that grand final that we spoke about earlier, CK. I think with Atkinson, it's not just, us finding a spot for him, but also probably now that he's proven himself, what does he want from his career? Is he going to be okay being that utility player or fill in, or does he want to try and get some quality first grade minutes? I'd love to keep him as well, but this is certainly going to be one of those trickier scenarios.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Williams, number 3.
Winning in Brisbane against the Roosters, Magic Round. So first Magic Round win since the first Magic Round in 2019, where we beat the Titans in front of no one on the Friday night with Kyle Flanagan kicking goals. And then or not kicking goals because he's terrible at that. He's terrible at everything, really, but that's a side point. I mean, how far the club has come. Anyway, here we are with winning against the Roosters. We'd beaten the Storm the week before. I'll talk about that soon. Spoiler alert. But this one, big match, a huge match. The match of the round, really, in front of 52,000 people, 5:30 on the Saturday night against pretty much a full-strength Roosters side. And in my view, and I know Boldo at the time was saying the Roosters were playing well, and they were coming for us, and we had a brain fart on halftime. We let them take the lead. The second half was where it's at. Watch that again. See how awesome Nico is. See short balls, see his long passes, see his kicking, see everything. See his running. See what a half can do, like Nico, when they're injury-free, keep it being injury-free and in form. And that is exactly what put him into the Origin frame. And we won that second half. I think it was 20-6 or 20-4. We probably should have won at 20-0 because that try we conceded to Dom Young was good old Ronnie coming off his wing there, unfortunately. But great result.
No.
38-30 the result. And it turned their narrative some more for this club.
Half time, 24-18.
Yeah.
Roosters'
It was
favour.
at 20 points to 6 for the second half, which really should have been 20.
Silly try right on the stroke of half.
Yeah, we don't concede that try on the stroke of half time. I know it's if, buts, and maybes, but we could have won that game 38-18. That would have probably been flattering to us, but I genuinely think that was the moment where I went off early. I went, hey, April premiers, May premiers, whatever we are. It's like, wow, this team plays like that in the business end, and this is what this team's capable of. We couldn't because players out of form, injuries, all that stuff, with the issues with Nico, the issues with the centres, the issues with the forwards, lacking some star props, unfortunately. That's what brought us undone. But at this point in time, at this moment in time, we were kings of the world. And if you do that in October or September, well, world's your oyster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good win. I'd written us off. It was another one of those games that Magic Round in Suncorp, I'd totally forgotten about that first victory we'd had in Magic Round. For me, my mind has just been like Magic Round equals loss.
Suncorp equals loss.
Suncorp equals loss, yeah. And it was great to get that win. Absolutely was charging. Now, for me, this was a great indicator of the year we were about to have. Not saying I picked everything right, but I picked a lot of things right, and this was one of them. Trindle winning the Preston medal at the All-Stars match. He had a fantastic game there. It was just one of those things to see that, all right, because he was paired with Nico for this match as well, right? This is what these guys can do. They're going to come back to Clubland, and they're going to hopefully continue this form where they carved up this match, Trindle in particular, and it was really just a beacon of light for what we can expect. So for people who maybe don't follow the Sharks as well, people on Fox, people on Channel 9, the Cowboys semi-final being that shining light for Trindle. He has been doing this for quite a while. All season he's had a really good go. Maybe there were a couple of games where it would have hit and miss, and there was maybe a bit of a ramp up at times, but he's had some really good games this season. So for anyone questioning about whether or not we should have re-signed him, I don't think there should be any question in it. He's just had a bit of a blinder, and I think he's one of those players that is super competitive. He is really going to want to win, and he's going to want to keep improving. So good work to the club and good work to Trindle. This was a great game to watch, just to say, all right, anyone who was concerned about our halves pairing, don't be.
Go back to 2022. Sharks versus Storm. Nico's out with COVID. Munster's out due Origin, maybe. Melbourne is full strength otherwise. We were assuring to win until Hines was out COVID late. And then that threw the odds back in Melbourne's favour. And this guy and Jesse Raymond combined for 3 tries. This guy gave Jerome Hughes, then deemed, again, I think at the time they were going, oh, gee, this guy's in form, best half in the world. gave him an absolute bath. He's got the potential, and he's showing it more and more frequently. And then just going through this process, looking back at the win over the Broncos, even the scratchy win over South, the way he dominated that second half, obviously the win over the Cowboys, he's got that potential, and I think we've got him for a steal. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I was like Franko. I was very excited, but again, it was an off-season, pre-season sort of game. Probably talked us up a little bit too much with the halves pairing, but like you just said, Matty, you touched on it. 2022. My one's 2023 against South over in Perth.
Yeah,
he just took the game by the scruff of the neck, and like Franko said, he's been doing this for a while. So no surprises. Glad he's been rewarded. I've seen all the boys' socials; they're all excited for him as well. And let's kick on with him.
Yeah.
Mike Knight says, preach.
Thanks, Mike.
Bring it. All right. CK, number 2.
Yeah, number 2 is the same. So I bumped it up a little bit higher as the Magic Round win. We talked on it during there's a game before this as well. We talked about a little bit tough period we're going to go through, and we were at grade ourselves. And to have a Magic Round win against a red hot Roosters team who've pretty much been killing everybody, it was huge. Again, Atkinson was in that team and had a big game as well, but across the board, it was great. So, hopefully we can get an easier match sometime in Magic Round, and I might venture up that way. But I'd have to save my pennies and my liver to go up there. So, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Williams, number 2.
Yes, obviously there's big old Oregon scoring for us. This was the game where, if you listen to the media, Blake Brayley had a blinder at halfback. Great coaching masterclass. Obviously, everything lit up about a couple of hours pre-game when it came out that Nico had gone down, and I think the captain's run and Atkinson had been installed as a single half, and then just listening, I think, to who was interviewed. I think it might have been on one of the Sharkcast interviews, maybe, or one of the players interviewed, and talking about how quickly they formulated a plan. Basically, went, okay, righto, we have this, righto, we have one half in Atkinson. How do we fix this, righto? McInnes is basically just a running 5/8 distributor, and we name Brayley as halfback defending there, but he's basically playing hooker, and we play with one half, and we ambush Melbourne, and went from there. I think I tipped us by 8 before the match. I think maybe I had a few beers before the game and put in the group chat and goes, I'm putting it out there, we'll still win by 8. That was no rationale there other than Dutch courage. And we won by 7. And Atkinson just stood up, obviously, with kicking every kick, including 2 or 3 from both sidelines. There was obviously we won't mention too much that fortuitous sin bin that we were the beneficiary of. But fantastic.
Hey, let's do a suspension.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it was. Hey, do not contact the kicker. It's pretty simple, and he did. And he, I would say it too, that he knew what he was doing, and he still made contact. So, and then obviously Atkinson kicked the field goal, and Talakai to Mulatalo put the icing on the cake, and everyone's favourite Dan Ganane got a little sound grab out of it. But yeah, that was big asterisk, but in a good way. Huge result.
Oh, the big asterisk. My goodness, was that infuriating. No one wanted to give us that win, did they? They didn't want to praise us. They didn't want to say, well done, Sharkies.
Who was Melbourne missing? Was it Hughes? I think Melbourne was missing Jerome Hughes. I think, did they have Wishart and Pappenhausen? That's right. They had Wishart and Munster in the halves.
Yeah. But I forget his name. Young live wire fullback. They weren't really lacking in the fullback department.
Farlongo had plenty of speed and agility. But I suppose that again, the what do you call it? The narrative, the wanky term for whatever you want to call it, really. The story that the media likes to perpetuate. I'm sure they're still perpetuating. The Sharks can't win big games. This was turning that tide. This was like, okay, this is a proper big match that we have won. With the following week with the Roosters, like, okay, it's 2 in a row, plus the Warriors at the start of the year, plus a few others later in the year, plus the semi-final win. This compared to 2023 and compared to 2022, massive movement in that space, and that's why I'm so excited about the years to come.
You've got dead air to fill, and it's easy to parrot what you've said years previously than come up with something new. So I think we've certainly put this to bed this year. I remember the day of this match, and it was like bad news after bad news after bad news, the rumors swirling. I was like, wait, what? Hang on, what's going on? No, that can't be right. This is crazy. Oh, and you just sink in your chair, and then the performance
I
that the
remember
boys put on.
messaging Kelly pre-game too, saying, before I got my Dutch courage into me, going, this ruins the narrative. Or the narrative was we were going to beat Melbourne in Melbourne regardless, and then we lost Nico. I was like, oh, we can't win now. That means we lose again, even though without Nico. The media's not going to look at that. They're just going to go, oh, you lost to Melbourne. But never mind the fact you're without your star player. And then we go and win. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great game and a great win. Absolutely. All right, my number 2. I don't want any flack. I'm probably going to get some flack. But my number 2 is, get out your tissues, starting the ET podcast with you guys. Hey, thanks very much for a cracker year. It's been awesome. Been working with you guys, with Boldo, with Lats, who's not on tonight's episode. But we've had a lot of fun. We've picked up a whole bunch of listeners. Really appreciative to all the guys that tune in and the people that comment and like and subscribe. It's been a really big year for us. I think we'll keep doing what we're doing. We're having fun doing it. It's going to be an exciting 2025. Who knows what we'll come up with? We've got a few plans in the works, but just having this with you guys was a lot of fun. So thank you very much. And that was high in my list of highlights for the 2024 season.
Great observation there. How do I leave the studio again? I think I'm done here. Was that end stream? Oops.
I was just about to say that was my highlight. It was my highlight still.
That was after Roosters.
We just beat the Roosters. I wish I mentioned that as my part of the Magic round. We're so high on life, beating the Roosters, the biggest victory. We had our biggest ever viewership in a debrief that was going on, and William said, "I've got to go." And hits end stream, and it just went to absolute Boldo live from London, which is absolutely chaos. So
was it?
Yeah,
40
it's probably the highlight
just...
of the podcast for me.
And then the fact that I came back into the show going, "Get not on air," and you guys booted me, "Get bugger off, Williams." I'm like, no, I've stuffed it. That was good, but I think that I've learned a few things out of this year. But the key bit is just like in America, don't talk about politics or healthcare or guns or any of that stuff. Is don't talk to Dave Bottomman about taking the 2, and I'll leave it as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I will say Mike Knight has come out with a cracker, and I don't know if it was intentional with his spelling, but so many tears.
That's good. That's good. That's very clever.
That's a good pun. We like a good pun.
Very clever.
That's really good, Mike Knight. If we were still doing the comment for the hat, we'd be popping that one in there. Well done, buddy. For those listening and not watching, he spelt it in terms of Boldo's tears, and not the salty tears.
Tissue tears.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yes, that's my number 2. All right, now we'll each have a bit of a breath. Well, I'll let you guys have a bit of a breath. Lats was the one that copped out CK. He was the worst. Didn't get his homework in. No top 10 from Lats. But Boldo had a bit of a top 10. He wanted to get his in. So we'll do a quick little segue into Boldo's top 10. Number 10 for Boldo was the Manly away win.
Yeah.
Number 9 was the emergence of Daniel Atkinson.
Yep.
Number 8 was the scenario of us playing with only one half. That strategy, he thought that was really cool. Number 7 was the Roosters win. He just thought it was an overall awesome performance. Number 6, beating the Warriors in round 1, another crossover. He points out that we didn't know whether or not they were going to be good that year, but based on the past, it was a big highlight. Number 5, he calls out the ongoing Talakai and Iro Centre discussion. So, there was certainly a lot of banter going on around that. Has it been put to bed yet? Are we calling it?
No. I think it's been put to bed, and Iro is a centre, and Talakai's body shape has changed. But that's just me. I think it's for the betterment of the club, the fact that this has become a thing. and continues to be a thing.
Well, for those of you that think I have an agenda, remember this was on Boldo's list.
Is
Number
this one of the ones that
4.
did Boldo have a keen preference or a particular sway either way, or was this one of the things that he just sat on the fence with? And
he sat on the fence. He went back and forth plenty of times. So
yeah, he got splinters. Number 4. I mean, you talked about lowlights before, CK. He's sort of turned this one around somehow. Number 4 was Ronaldo's blunder in the in-goal corner. And the reason why it was a highlight for him was how Williams reacted to it, which may or may not have been a little bit over the top.
Well, no, I don't. Sorry, you've got to use the I dislike saying that the Gus Gould analogy, but it's true. He turns around and says, based on a refereeing decision, is like if that's in the final minute of the grand final, would that same decision be made in that way? Same too in my job. It's like if that person did that, if you substituted that with someone else, is that behavior still at the standard required? This one, gosh, if Mulatalo did that in a preliminary final against the Panthers and To'o picks up and scores, which basically felt should have, it was only the fact that someone held back, I think was another defender in the way that we got a penalty out of it and breathed a sigh of relief. Gosh, it was the brain fart of all brain farts in my view. But anyway, just me.
Yes, and for a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, Boldo reminded me that was in the Eels match, and I spent quite a bit of time looking for footage of that to put in here, and I could not find it. But anyway,
Cowboys away. Ronaldo stepped on the ball right on halftime. All he needed to do was pick it up and run it out. Do anything really. Tries to kick it, trips over the ball. Felt picks up and scores. We end up losing the game in it, but a key moment. I think it would have. Dare I say, it would have been the third try. It wouldn't have been, but it would have put us down by more than 6 at half time. Luckily pulled back, but Cowboys game. We know Boldo's not great with attention to detail, and that's okay.
His number 3 is the Talakai try versus the Storm. Yeah, so for those that don't quite remember it, Kennedy picks up the ball in our own in goal, runs across, gives the ball to Ronaldo, who sprints downfield and gets the ball out to Talakai, who then goes the rest and scores. It was massive and it was awesome. Actually, no, that's not that one. Our listeners are gonna hate us for that one. No, they're screaming at their car radio or at their monitor or at their phone. This was the short kickoff. This was the short kickoff that Ronaldo gathered and then stepped a couple and went through the line and was able to offload to Talakai, who then went the distance and scored. So that was in the dying minutes of the game.
The sealer.
I'm glad I corrected myself there. Think of the hate mail we would have got off the back of that one.
Good correction. The hate mail from the guy that put these votes in. So
correct. And then his number 1 moment of the season, and I'll let you guys debate this one if you want, was the Katoa try versus the Panthers in the preliminary final loss. He felt that with that try, we were back in it and a chance. So it was a great try, good, feel-good moment. Doesn't make my list, spoilers, but that was his number 1 moment of the season.
That was a big moment by Qatar. That was a huge try.
Yeah. For me, it was a massive moment. Did bring us back in the match
for a short period.
Again, caveat gave me 2 out of 3 of the multi. The killer was right at the end when the Panthers put the grubber in, and I thought their centre was going to score, and Liam Martin just put the ball down next to his bootlaces, and me and Lats watched the money disappear. So good try. But I don't know if number one on your list, a try and a losing prelim final, but let's go with it.
I can see being there on the night for a break. We believed for most of the night, then it seemed like it was slipping away, and then it happened right in front of us. And I'll give Boldo that. I think I was hugging him and many other people. I was like, come on, here we go. This was out of nothing, and the Panthers were looking rattled. Unfortunately, we dropped the ball. I think it was poor Oregon that dropped it, and then they scored, and that was that.
Oh, at that stage, we're up to our elbows in it. So, yeah, it's a great highlight. So,
yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Here's what everyone's been waiting for. They've been hanging on. They've on the edge of their seats. They've pulled the car over to the side. They're listening with bated breath, ready to go. CK, your number one, sir.
My number one, again, was the victory down in Melbourne. It had to be. Franko's most hated commentary team was taking us on. The media had us absolutely smashed. I think we had Jack Williams playing fullback. We had TBA playing 6. We had God knows who playing 9. And I think there was an SOS call out to the Guymea Gorillas to try and find a 7. So everything that could have gone wrong and possibly could go wrong did go wrong. And we went down there and pulled out a massive victory. For some reason, the guy in the background there, Talakai, was coming off the bench. We still don't know why he was coming off the bench in a game like this where he could have been playing centres, but that's another debate we'll throw out there, and just wanted to stick the knife at a few more people. Just to keep the debate going. And, of course, Talakai with the absolute sealer running away was just I think Dan Gannay was talking about the coffee order he made in Melbourne that day and went, oh, Talakai is going to score. I went, oh, goodbye. And that was it. There was no excitement. There was no fanfare. We just absolutely upset Melbourne down in Melbourne. And again, Atkinson had an absolute killer of a game, kicking goals from 60 metres out from each sideline, a field goal from 75 metres out, and took us through the victory. So it's probably one of the biggest victories I've seen in our club under strength like that, to go down to a team that not many teams beat. Melbourne again, they were grand finalists and minor premiers. For us to go down there and do that with a very bit parts team. It's probably reminiscent for Matty's second favourite game of Sharks down in Canberra semi-final 2016.
Absolutely.
Where bit parts team shouldn't be winning and just find the way to do it. So, yeah.
That win, week 1 of the finals 2016, remains my Empire Strikes Back. It's the greatest, I suppose outside the grand final, even including the grand final, I think it's genuinely the greatest Sharks performance of all time, given that everything that was at play there. But this is definitely up there, would make a top 10. And I'll add to this and just leverage off it. And it doesn't even include my number one, but ever since 2016 and moments of 27 and 2018, I would argue that this team has not given us much to be proud of. We've been flat track bullies, and we've had some good wins, and we've gone, yeah, we're going good. And then we play against quality opposition, and we not only lose, but fold like I've heard people say fold like a deck chair, whatever, insert it, metaphor here. And then this year we stood up, whether against the Warriors, or it was this game, or the Roosters game, or the games later in the season too against Manly and the Dragons. Like we had a lot to be proud of this team, and we've got some starch and some spine back. And this was you're right. This was enormous.
Yeah, very good. Good pick, CK. Well done. All right, Williams, keep us going with your number one, mate. Drum roll.
It seemed like, pardon the aviation pun, but we're in a holding pattern the entire season, waiting to see if we would win a finals match. Lo and behold, week 1 of the finals, right on halftime, Nicara scores, gets us back in it. We think, here we go. After Kenny dropped the kickoff and Nico missed touch, and Jack Williams gave a penalty away just after halftime and all that stuff. Anyway, we know how that finished. Anyway, the circus moves on to, are we playing at Shark Park? Are we playing at Allianz? Is the trains, they're not striking, they're fine. I get on a train from the hills and everything's all good. And then I'm seeing all the stuff on social media explode, that there's thousands of people on train stations in the Shire and they can't get to the game. And I'm absolutely livid. And I'm like, here we go. The fix is in. This is FU City Rail and everything you're striking for. The fact that you couldn't get it. And all the AFL, the people are saying, oh, Swans, 45,000 people there not watching the game, but there's a sellout. Well, Shark Park, like Allianz can't get 10 people, when it was actually 19,000, should have been 20,000 plus. It felt like a good crowd, and there was plenty of thousands of people, I reckon, that didn't rock up because of the strike issue. And then we go out there, Cowboys play well early. I think, here we go again. And then we get a try, and then another try, and another try, and another try. And we're like, okay, here we go. We're partying now. And then the Cowboys, they score early, and they come back, and they go back, and like, oh, here we go. We've seen this one before. Then we hold out and win. Enormous for the confidence. we rolled onto the Panthers game. It wasn't really celebrated enough because it was it's a second week finals match. They're kind of the finals wins that don't get remembered. It's the week 1 finals knockout match or the prelim finals matches that you remember. These are the ones that are less lauded. But yeah, it was great all the same. We finally won one. Yes, you're all right in that they'll say we've won 1 finals match from 10 matches or whatever it is, but we're going in the right direction. We've won a big match. Now it's time to string 3 or 4 wins together and win the big one.
You're right on that, Williams, with people don't pay attention to week 2, but it's probably one of the hardest ones to win. You've either come off a loss and you're battered, bruised, banged up, suspensions, whatever, or you're the lowest seed team on a win and thinking, can I go to another venue and get a victory? So
hang on.
Yeah, it's a hard one to win. You see teams are a lot more gun shy in prelims. You don't really see a big score in a prelim. They're very, sort of arm wrestly and nervous and things like that. But yeah, week 2 should be lauded as a really hard victory to get.
In our finals, I reckon in our finals history, some of our biggest losses or most disappointing losses have come in week 2, and some of our biggest and most impressive wins have come in week 2. And you're right, it's kind of you're hot off the heels of you've just lost a top 4 shootout, or you've just won a bottom 4 shootout and gone, how good are we? We're playing against insert good team here, and then we lo and behold get smashed. And yeah, the writing was on the wall that this could have gone 2 ways. Obviously, it could have, but the Cowboys they'd found some form. A lot of learned pundits in the media were lauding them as they should have been top 4 and all that jazz. And they had a more rocks and diamonds match, unfortunately for them, and fortunately for us. But a win all the same, bit of revenge from 2022, and it's great experience going forward. We need these players to be playing big matches. Unfortunately, we don't have too many players in Origin, as terrible as Origin is. But this was the quality experience that was required for this team. They're going to make the next step. They need more of these experiences and more of these performances.
And I'm sure I'll throw out another one, Franko, a top 10 favourite all-time Sharks games. There's one of them in there is obviously the prelim against the Cowboys in 2016. But God, I hate prelims. I don't want to even go into them, but yeah, we can do that one.
I was going to say this is just another one in that long list of finals matches against the Cowboys. We just seem to have these great games against them in the finals. Obviously made more great when we win. So this was awesome. I was really, really pumped for this. And obviously this has the undertones of the Trindle performance as well. So it was a fantastic game. One that I don't think many people saw coming, especially that first half.
I'll caveat that, sorry that any City Rails peoples that may be watching this that were striking that night, sorry, but it took me, I think, 3 hours to get home. I think I got home at 1:30 that night.
Don't apologise to him, mate.
Yeah. It's like if you want to affect something, just go and affect the Swans game, or actually don't affect the GWS game because no one goes there. But don't stuff us around, please. We're poor Cronulla fans.
All right, my number 1. Like a jockey at the Melbourne Cup, I was riding this one the whole way. What else could it have been but the Melbourne victory down there? I totally scrubbed from my brain CK, the commentary team of Ganane and Parker. But gosh, this was just to come into this game with such low expectations and then get that win. And it's not like it was ever really in the bag at any stage. There was, it really came down to the wire. So to just ride the emotions of this one from beginning to end, or even pre-game with all the news that was coming out about the team disruptions and whatnot, this was just an absolute amazing performance, and one that I think will certainly be spoken about for many years to come, just with the whole story around it, the performance, individual players stepping up. It was fantastic. It was a really good game, and couldn't be anything other than my number 1.
Hopefully folklore that the team themselves can thrive off, and us fans can obviously enjoy the Dan Ganane and Corey Parker riding home at the Storm. And I don't want to, I suppose, focus on a negative, but you can even see in the reverse kind of shades. This analogy has come into my head. So Simon Hill Craig Foster, the penalty shootout in 2005 against Uruguay, and you can hear Craig Foster there going, it's 4-2. We're a chance we're gonna win the penalty shootout. The reverse happened here in that Dan Ganane's called it, Talakai's scored and gone, the game's over. And he's gone, this kick's a bit further. It's out wide. Atkinson can miss this. That keeps it 5 points. They keep Storm in it, and obviously they're trying to keep the viewers interested. But you can tell too. Sorry, Dan, but you probably had a bet riding on this, didn't you? Yeah, it's in your multi, and you're probably going, gosh, it's about to go down the drain. We're okay. We're okay here. Dan's going to miss it, and Dan obviously nails it. We win by 7, and the good guys win. Everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah,
I'll just say I wish I thought about it a bit longer. And it's like, I sort of had success of the club throughout the season, but our flag boys coming from absolutely nowhere, coming from down the bottom, to go on an absolutely massive winning streak to the grand final and almost pulling off that victory as well. To you guys, credit to you. You're the future of this club. So I wish I had that in my list as well. I wish I would have thought about it a little bit longer, but that retro jersey just takes the top. It almost could have been one for me, but anyway.
Yeah. Any honourable mentions from you, Williams?
Several. So good shout out on the second. The fact that we've been able to have so much fun with this. Thank you, fans, for tuning in. This is not our last show of the season, but I thought I'd just harp on that. It's a really good shout. I just looked wholly and solely at the men's first grade team, which was very blinkered of me talking about Melbourne Cup. So very blinkered. Thanks to Boldo, obviously, who pulled this all together. He's the brains behind everything. So thank you, David, for everything you did. Little dishonourable shout out was some fool who got himself on a game show back in March and then made a goose of himself in front of national TV and is the butt of every joke. Where do we play? Is it Ronson Field? I don't know. Anyway.
Doesn't have a name at the moment.
Doja Cat Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Doja Cat Stadium. Dear, oh dear, I think I've got PTSD. No, that was good fun and great to share that with everyone. And honourable mention, I think my try of the season was the Will Kennedy try against Parramatta. I was there. We covered about 100 metres. So Kennedy beat 2 or 3 defenders, gave it on to Ronaldo, beat another few, threw a dummy, stepped back inside, gave it to Kennedy, who ran. So basically it was coming out of our own end, out of nothing, huge play in the scheme of the game, got us back within 6 at half time. We ultimately lost that match, but in the scheme of the context and just the showing what both those players can do, it was great for the highlights reel. And yeah, I think the best try of the season in amongst a lot of them really, but you could talk all day too about your top 10 tries, all those things.
Funny point being that I saw that try multiple times today while looking for the Ronaldo faux pas.
You must feel like Lat's watching the 99 prelim final.
It's like
nothing feels like watching.
It's not in this game. I remember us winning the game that happened in, which was part of the argument. No, it's not here. No, it's there. He even sent me a timestamp. It's like, nope, it's not there, mate. Anyway.
Kelly, nothing is as bad as watching the 99 prelim once, let alone 3 times. So
3 times in a row. Yeah.
Maybe that would have made Latz's highlights for the season.
Homework. He's still rocking back and forth. It's like I want to look back at anything.
Mike Knight came through and he said it was a dream in reference to 2 of our 3 number 1 picks, which was the win over Melbourne. Were you keeping tally there, CK? How many crossovers were there? There were a few.
There was at least 4 or 5 there.
Just having a quick glance, we all had the Stone Street try. We all had the Melbourne victory. The 2 of you guys had the Magic Round win.
2 for women's.
2 for women's. The Manly win. There was a few. Pretty good odds. Yeah. Birds of a feather. All of that.
Great minds.
Great minds. Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for these guys. This was lots of fun. CK Williams, great show as usual. Love your thoughts on this and the season in general. If you missed Boldo's yearly wrap-up of the tiers, the season review and how we did on our predictions for the year, that was last week's episode, so go and check that out. We will have our regular Tuesday show next week with Boldo flying back from wherever. He will be ready to rip into some topic that I'm sure you won't want to miss. What do you reckon, guys? How to sort socks or best ways to iron a shirt? I don't know.
Probably
whatever it
comparisons
is.
between EPL and NRL or something like that.
I'm sure it will be fun and entertaining, but we'll make sure to give you guys a heads up so that you know not to miss it. Thanks very much, everyone here, for hanging with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. How do we do with our top 10? I'd love to hear your opinions, not to mention can't wait to see what your top 10 moments would be. So drop them down in the comments below and let us know. Have a great week, everyone, and up Cronulla.